We're going to get ready to get started. So we're working on nourishing the heart tonight. I will warn you guys, this is an area that, we hold a lot of our emotion, our tension, our body armor. So I've been having experiences this week where people are having some emotional releases. Not saying it will definitely happen to you, but be prepared because we're going to really work on opening, nourishing the whole area around the heart, but not so much like we often think of heart openers when we're talking about this area where we're just, getting everything really open. So it's kind of not the flavor of this class. This class is going to be more kind of introspective, more nourishing for the heart. We're going to do kind of more downward facing poses where we're going to use visuals for releasing like things that we might be holding in our heart. So it'll have more of that flavor. We will get to a little bit of heart opening later in the practice, but initially it's going to be more nurturing, more like self-care kind of practice for the heart chakra. So yoga talks about different energy centers in the body, and we call them chakras. They go from the base of the spine to the crown of the head. And the heart is one of those major energy centers. And so the yogis talk about how we can have imbalances in our chakras. So we could have deficient energy in our heart chakra. We could have excessive energy in our heart chakra. So deficient energy might look like closed off, shut down, armored up, very protective, keep the world away, just very like, I gotta protect my heart. On the flip side of it, it might be way open and it's like, oh, I love everybody, and that kind of feeling, and like almost a little too much, right? Just like being so open that we can get hurt, right? If we're so open. So we have to have that boundary. We have to have, the give and take between protecting, nourishing our heart, and also, having it to be open to new experiences and things like that.
Oh.
What was that? Everything okay? I
There's
don't know what
something.
that was. Okay. So that's kind of what we're focusing on. The name for the heart chakra is Anahata. And that's a Sanskrit word that means unstruck. So I always kind of think of it as this is this pure place within us that we can tap into. So unstruck means it's this place before all the things happened, all the pain, the heartache, the sorrow in life. Within our heart space area, right, there's this unstruck pure place within us. So we'll tap into that place tonight. So we're going to actually start in child's pose. You're going to need blocks. You're going to need a couple of blankets. And if you have something that resembles a bolster, if you don't, no biggie. You can maybe use a couple bed pillows. If you don't have any of that, everything we can do without the props as well. So if the blocks would be good if you have those. And we'll go from there. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and mute unless anyone has a comment or question. And we'll get started. Right. So if you have any questions along the way, feel free to unmute. And go ahead and come onto your mat and come into child's pose. So I am not going to come into child's pose myself because I won't really be able to guide you or talk while I'm in child's pose. So I'm going to stay up. But go ahead and find any version of child's pose that feels good for you. Some people like the arms forward. Some people like to stack the palms and put the forehead on the palms. Some people like to drape the arms back behind and let the forehead rest on the floor. So decide what might feel most nourishing for you and come into a child's pose. And we're going to use a particular breath pattern tonight. So I'm going to talk to you about that as you get into your child's pose. And it's very simple, and it's kind of based on Ayurvedic principles of let's say digestion. But in this case, it's about how we digest and process our emotions more so than our food. So think about our heart, we feel a lot. We have all these, metaphors that we use for the feeling in our heart. Like my heart is heavy, my heart is light, my heart is closed off. So the breath pattern is going to be an inhale. And the inhale is taking something in. So that's nourishment. And then we're going to take a pause with the breath held in. And that's the moment of digestion, of processing, of holding that breath in. And then we're going to exhale. And in the exhale, we can think about releasing, letting go, softening. So as you're in your child's pose, whichever version you chose, and by the way, if you can't do child's pose due to any knee limitation, feel free to hug your knees into your chest on your back. While you're there, inhale. And after you inhale, take a pause. And it doesn't have to be a long pause, whatever feels right for you. And then a slow releasing exhale. So come into that pattern and we'll hold the child's pose for a little bit longer. And throughout practice, I'm going to share a couple readings, a couple poems tonight, just to sort of reinforce the flavor of our practice. So this first one is written by Melody Beattie about letting go. So letting go doesn't mean we don't care. Letting go doesn't mean we shut down. Letting go means we stop trying to force outcomes and make people behave. It means we give up resistance to the way things are for the moment. It means we stop trying to do the impossible, controlling that which we cannot, and instead focus on what is possible, which usually means taking care of ourselves. And we do this in gentleness, kindness, and love as much as possible. So rather than trying to force outcomes and control other people, we learn to just kind of take care of ourselves and our own needs. And that's sort of the flavor of this practice tonight. So take about 2 more rounds of that breath where we inhale, hold it in, pause, and slowly exhale it out. 1 more round. Now, if your arms are behind you, go ahead and bring them in front of you and stack your palms under your forehead. And start to have a little organic movement by rocking a little side to side, maybe rolling your head side to side, moving your hips. So I'm kind of not all the way down so that you can hear me, but we're just gonna rock a little bit. Move in any way that feels good in that child's pose. And then come back into stillness, and then make your way up into your tabletop position. So a little different practice. A lot of times we usually start on our backs, but tonight we're going to be more face down. So come into tabletop position. Press your palms into the floor and do a few rounds of our cat-cows. Inhale, lifting the heart, lifting the sit bones. Exhale, round. So we'll do a few more cycles like that.
I couldn't find that in your Apple Music.
Oops, sorry about that. Wait, for some reason my Siri is popping on my iPad. I don't know if you guys heard that, but that's what that was. So 2 more cycles like this. And then pause back in neutral tabletop position. From here, place your left forearm parallel to the top of your mat and take your right arm and reach it as far forward as you can. Now we're going to keep the hips over the knees. Don't drop back like child's pose. And let your sit bones tip a little up toward the ceiling. From here, let your head come down onto your forearm. And then let your heart soften down. Now I want you to imagine that there's a little bit of a weight on your heart, almost like a sandbag, and you're just getting heavy through your heart center. So think about releasing. What do we need to release from our heart? And come into that breath pattern. Inhale, pause. Exhale, release and soften. Press gently through your right palm. Keep your hips moving back away from your palm. Heart softening down. One more breath. And then slowly walk that hand back in. And let's try that on the other side. So now right forearm parallel to the top of your mat. Left arm reaches way forward. Press a little bit into that palm. Roll your sit bones a little up and let your head come down. And just keeping that little bit of pressing into your left palm and let your heart soften down. And come into that same breath pattern. I'll remind you a few times throughout class. We'll try to keep that breath pattern throughout our practice tonight. One more breath. And then slowly come back up into your tabletop position. Now both arms are going to go forward. So keeping your hips over your knees, start to walk your both arms forward. Roll your sit bones a little up. And if you can, bring the head down to the floor. Now, if you feel like you need to, feel free to put something under your forehead. So some people are a little more comfortable with a block under the forehead. That's fine. Keep the arms active, your palms pressing down, and let your heart melt toward the floor. Now, some people like to deepen this. So if you do, try to bring your chin to the floor. So it creates a little bit more upper back bend in your upper spine. So that might not be available to everyone, no worries. So that's an option. One more breath. And then slowly slide your hands back. And if you can, sit on your heels. Now, some of us, that's, again, too much on the knees. So feel free, maybe you want to sit up on a block or two. So you can just stick the block underneath your seat. And that'll take a little pressure out of your knees. 2 blocks, or if all of those don't feel good, sit cross-legged, okay? If we can, we're going to sit on the heels. Now this next little part is kind of an energy work for the heart. So we'll do a little energy healing for the heart center. So first we're going to bring our palms together in front of our heart. And then as you inhale, we're going to take the arms apart, palms apart, and take a little back bend. And then we're going to bring the palms back to the heart. Okay, let's try that a few rounds. Inhale, open up that heart space. Exhale, bring palms back together. One more time. Good, and now release your arms out to the side, slightly out, like not all the way down, a little bit out to the side, that's it. And we're gonna turn the palms forward and down, which is gonna round your back a little bit. And then from there, rotate your head a little right to left. It's gonna feel a little funky, but that's okay, go with it. Just release a little bit through the neck and maybe a little bit into chest. And then do the opposite. Come back to center, roll your arms back. And again, rotate your head a little side to side. Now make it kind of what I call a little more organic. So just kind of move the arms, rotate the head, and just do whatever feels good. Maybe you want to make a full circle. Maybe you want to keep rotating those arms forward and back. So it's just a little free form. And then release, arms come back down. Now we're going to take our right hand and you're going to take your left thumb and circle the center of your palm. So this is an energy center kind of acupressure point for the heart. We're just going to circle and rub the center of the palm. So keep that going. This is good for emotional balance and anxiety, calms the heart. And then other hand. So just circle the center of your palm. Said to be one of the strongest points in the body for projecting healing energy and supporting the heart. Good, now you're gonna make a fist with your left hand. You're gonna pound that center of that palm. Just to kind of get energy flowing through both the heart and pericardium pathways in the body. And then switch, other side, pat it out. And use a pretty good pressure there. It's kind of like you're jump starting the energy here. Okay, now put the the palms of your hands together. I'm gonna come in a little closer so you can see. So palms of the hands together and you're gonna kind of make a friction. Yeah, like that, good. So make a friction and you'll feel a warmth starting to come into your palms. And we're stimulating that acupressure point, but we're also creating that warmth. And now we're going to take our palms right over the heart and feel that warmth. Inhale, pause, hold the breath. Exhale, release. One more, inhale. Pause, digest, process. Exhale, let it go. Now start to circle your palms over your heart. Now, we have the anatomical heart, which is a little more to the left, and we have the heart center, which is more in the middle, which is more what we call the heart chakra. So you can do either. You can circle the center over your heart chakra, or a little to the left over the anatomical heart. And then reverse your circle, go the other way. And just think about circulating energy through your heart. Where maybe things are stagnant or heavy or congested or shut down, we're bringing energy in. Okay, pause. And now inhale, move your palms away from your heart. Exhale, bring them towards your heart and press in. Inhale, move your hands away. Exhale, move your hands to your heart and press in. If you need to come off your knees, feel free. One more time, inhale, palms move away. Exhale, press in. Good. Now move your hands down to your belly and come back to that breath. Maybe close your eyes. And just think about all that energy that we just created in the heart. We're now digesting it. So inhale, pause, exhale, release. And let's do that again. Inhale, pause, exhale, release. Good, and then now inhale, reach the arms up. Last thing, this is called drawing down the heavens. Reach your arms up. And we're gonna pull down through center, and this is the calming energy for the heart. Two more, inhale, reach up. Exhale, draw down the heavens. One more time, inhale, reach up. Exhale, draw down. Very good. Okay, coming back into tabletop position, grab your 2 blocks. So we're doing a couple versions of what we call in yoga puppy pose. We already did 2 versions. We did the 1 arm forward, we did the 2 arms forward. This one's going to be with bent arms. So you're going to have your 2 blocks stacked the long way, short end to short end. And we're going to put our elbows on the blocks. Put your palms together and walk your knees back. From here, walk your elbows forward. And then see if you could put your forehead on the edge of the blocks and bring your palms behind the back of your head. Rolling your sit bones up, gently press your elbows into the blocks. And then let your heart melt down. So one of the names for puppy pose is called melting heart pose. So just let that center of the heart feel like it has that sandbag on it, and it's dropping, releasing, letting go toward the floor. And come back to your breath pattern. One more breath there. And then from here, go ahead and start to press up. Set your blocks off to the top of your mat and come back into tabletop position. Okay. You're still with your knees under your hips. You're going to take your palms about as wide as your mat and come up on your fingertips. Now that might be challenging. If it is, put your palms flat. And start to resist your hands in towards each other. So pull in as if you're trying to draw your hands towards each other. Tone your belly and start to lower your chest toward the floor as you press your palms in towards each other. And get as low as you like. How far you go is up to you. Let that heart melt down and then come back up. Sit back on your heels. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hands to the heart. Bring your palms flat to your heart. Inhale, move your palms away. Exhale, palms press into the heart. And this time, lift your heart, take your gaze up and back, and feel your upper spine contract. Back of the neck is long. And then come back up. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hands down, tabletop position. We're going to do that again. Hands as wide as the mat. Come up on your fingertips. Resist your hands towards each other. Feel that tone in your chest, tone your belly. And then start to lower your chest toward the floor. Elbows are kind of going wide. Fingers are drawing towards each other. And you're letting your heart descend toward the floor. Upper spine is moving in. How far you go is up to you. Push back up. Sit back on your heels. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Good. Palms flat on your chest. Inhale, palms move away. Exhale, palms press. And then lift your heart, take your head back. Feel that engagement in your upper back. Open the throat. And then release. Okay, come back, tabletop position. Now we're gonna be moving back toward a child's pose, but I want you to think about your hands are gonna be as wide as your mat. We're gonna use resistance again. So watch for a moment. I want you to think about pulling your hands towards your knees and towards center, but they're not going to move. So you're going to pull your hands towards your knees and towards center and start to shift back slowly into a child's pose as far as you can go. Hands are pulling in and towards your knees. We create that resistance. Draw back. And then come back up. Okay, so try that again. Pull your hands in towards center and towards your knees. Pull your chin down and in. and start to move back toward a child's pose. So it's like adding a little resistance. So we get a little bit more of a stretch through the arms and the shoulders. One more time. Inhale forward. Pull your hands towards each other and toward center, towards your knees, and start to shift back. Keep that resistance in your palms as you move your sit bones away from your hands. Stretch your arms and your shoulders. Good, and back up into tabletop position. Okay, next thing we're gonna do is a thread the needle, but it's gonna be a progressive thread the needle, and it works the back of the heart, back of the shoulder area. You might wanna watch for a moment. I'm gonna demonstrate, and then you guys can try. So we're gonna take the right leg out in line with your hip. And then the left arm's gonna reach up and thread through. Okay, some people might need something under the head here, a pillow or folded up blanket. And then we'll start by placing your hand on your lower back. So watch for a moment. Then I might wrap it all the way around, tuck it into my hip. Then this is the part I want you to see. I'm gonna start to let my back foot, so look at my back foot, I'm gonna start to move it over toward the right and start to look up toward the ceiling. Then I'm gonna let this hand come to the floor. And I'll continue to roll open any amount. And you get a nice big stretch in the back of the heart. So I'm gonna have you guys try now. So take your right leg out to the side, in line with your hip. Inhale your left arm up. Good, exhale, thread it through. Good, now if the head doesn't easily make it to the floor, grab a little support, a little pillow or something for under your head. If you have any strain in your neck, you're not gonna go to that full pose, okay? I'm gonna let you guys decide on your own how far you wanna progress this. So you could keep your right hand on the floor or take your right hand to your lower back. And start to turn your chest a little open and start to press into your left arm into the floor. If you want to go further, take that hand and sneak it further and wrap it around and tuck it under, like around your hip. And you might just stay there. Come back to your breath pattern. Inhale. Hold the breath for a pause. Exhale, let it go. Now, if you want to go further, bring your attention to your left foot and start to move that left foot a little bit to the right and start to roll your chest and your gaze up toward the ceiling. And then maybe that right hand is going to come to the floor behind your head. And you'll use that as a little anchor to roll open a little more. So this is a deep pose. I want you guys to listen to your body. Don't go too far. Eventually, maybe you get the other shoulder to the floor, but I'm not there, but that's kind of the direction we're going in. But don't force anything ever. Okay. Slowly unwind. Come back to center. Both palms flat. Step that foot back in and come into child's pose. And then just kind of notice the after effect of opening up the back of the shoulder, back of the heart region. So we are going to move through a little bit of flow tonight, but some of the work is going to be deep, but in a more stretchy way rather than the flowy way, let's put it that way. So we're going to go deep into some of these poses tonight, but progress at your own capacity, your own limits. Let's try that on the other side. So left leg is going to come out, back to table. Inhale your right arm up and thread it through. Okay, you might stay there with your palm on the floor, especially if you feel a lot of tension in your neck. You might start to press into your bottom arm and roll your chest open a little bit. Maybe take your hand to your lower back. The minute I bring that hand off the floor, there's more pressure in the neck. So again, if that doesn't feel good, hand stays on the floor. You might start to take that hand and tuck it into your opposite hip. So you go a little deeper into that shoulder opener. And then you maybe bring that right foot a little over toward the left and bring your hand to the floor behind your head. And then rolling open to your ability, what feels good. Don't go so far that you're gonna tumble out, okay? If you do, go with it. Don't try to stop yourself. If you roll out, you're not gonna hurt yourself, but if you try to stop yourself, you might. So just be really careful, okay? Last breath, inhale, hold at the top. Exhale, let it all go. Good. Okay, carefully and slowly, let's come back into tabletop and into child's pose. And then hold there for a moment in your child's pose. Okay, so we'll come onto the belly from here, and we're going to come into Sphinx pose. So we're going to line the palms up with the elbows, elbows under the shoulders, press down in your palms, lift your chest. Think about the center of your heart pressing forward. Like imagine there's a little headlight in the center of your heart, and you want to shine it forward. So your upper spine should be moving in. Think about moving the back of your heart forward toward the front of your heart. Keep the neck soft and relaxed. And hold that there another breath or two. Inhale, hold it. Process. Exhale, let it go. One more. Okay, lower down, stack up your palms, give your hips a little wiggle. So it is a back bend in Sphinx pose. We're going to make that a little more challenging. You're welcome to repeat what you just did if that was a lot for your lower back. So now we're going to bring the palms out to the outside edge of your mat and turn them out a little bit. This is called seal pose. So think of your palms as little flippers, and you want to turn them out. And you're going to press your tailbone down and lift up. And we're going to do this like a rolling wave. So we're going to inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower down and bring your chin in. Keep your chin in, roll up, and then bring your gaze forward and repeat. Now, if this is hard, move your hands more forward. And then it'll be less of a back bend. If you want more challenge, move your hands back and you'll lift up higher. So 2 more rolls. And now hold it up if you can. Now, if holding it is too much, go back to Sphinx. Turn your elbows forward, which will open your collarbones, open your chest. And close your eyes if you're comfortable and breathe. Inhale, hold the breath. Exhale, let it go. 2 more. Last one. After you finish that last exhale, go ahead and come all the way back down. Stack up your palms. Give your hips that little wiggle. Release your lower back. As those poses do tend to get, a little compressed in the lower back, but it brings good energy flow in there. Okay, now watch this one for a moment. We're gonna come back to a seal, but don't go so deep. Like keep your hands a little more forward. We're gonna take the right arm out to the side, and then you're gonna thread it through to the other side, behind the arm, and then repeat, just like thread the needle. Inhale, reach your arm up. Exhale, thread it through. One more time. This one's a little challenging. Now stay there, and if your head doesn't quite make it to the floor, grab a block or grab a pillow for under your head. And send your awareness and your breath into the back of your right shoulder blade. So the back body represents what's behind us, our past. So right between the shoulder blades, we can think of as our past heartache, our past pain. And we hold a lot of tension back there behind our shoulder blades. Take 2 more rounds of that breath pattern. Every exhale, kind of soften in, let go. One more. Okay, go ahead and make your way back to the center. Pause, rest down. Wiggle the hips if you need to. And we'll do that on the other side. So come up into kind of a mild seal pose. You don't have to go real deep. And then really press in your right palm. Inhale, left arm out. Thread it through. Head comes down. And 2 more. Inhale, open that arm up. Exhale, thread it through. One more time. You're gonna press through that palm, give yourself the strength, and then hold the pose. Let your head rest down on something. Could be on your shoulder, could be on a pillow or a block. And now breathe into the back of your left shoulder blade. Inhale, pause. Exhale, release. One more. Good, come back around to the center, take a pause, wiggle your hips out. And then grab your bolster or pillow, and if you don't have one, you'll do this without it, okay? So put that underneath your rib cage, and you're gonna prop yourself up a little bit. Okay, now we're gonna take the arms and we're gonna thread them both across. So you're gonna cross at your elbows and reach your fingers towards opposite sides. Okay, so your rib cage is on that bolster. Take your right hand over to the left and your left hand over to the right. And then you're crossed at your elbows and you're trying to reach in opposite directions. Let your head come down. And now send your breath into the area behind your heart, behind the chakra, the heart chakra, so heart center. Breathe right between your shoulder blades. Okay, release and come back to center. Now we're gonna do the opposite arm on top. So if you have your right arm on top, now it's gonna be your left arm. So cross the arms again, take them toward opposite sides of your mat, press into your palms and reach through your fingers, and let your head come down. Imagine you could breathe right into the back of your heart center. Good, release, come back through the center, let your arms relax for a moment. And then we're gonna slide ourselves up and take that bolster out of the way. And we'll come back to that. We can use it for Shavasana. Now we're gonna repeat that same thing. We're gonna add on, so we're gonna come onto the belly and we're gonna cross the arms. So maybe start with your right arm on top so we know which one was on top. And then you're gonna lift your hands up and reach back and hold your shoulder blades. So take your hands and reach behind you and grab your shoulder blades. So you're kind of resting on your elbows. If you're on a hard floor, you might want padding under your elbows. Now from here, bend your knees, pick your feet up, take your head down and pull with your hands like you're trying to pull your shoulder blades apart. And then release, shins down, relax your arms, and we'll do that 2 more times. Lift the shins and feet, pull with your hands, open the back of your heart, and you're squeezing your chest. And then shins come down. 1 more time. Shins and feet lift, pull, open the back of your heart, and let it go. Unwind, rest down. And just energetically, just feel the release. So we did a lot of squeezing of the chest there, opening up the back of the heart. So feel the residual kind of the energy flow after we let it go. Other side, left arm is in the front. Cross at the elbows and then grab onto your back of your shoulders. Lift the shins, drop your head, pull with your hands. Big breath, and then release. 2 more. Shins and feet lift, pull. Drop your head. And release. Think about moving your shoulder blades apart. 1 more time. All right, unwind, come down, rest, wiggle it out. Okay, next one's gonna be one of those kind of deeper poses. We've done a lot of preparation for it so far. So again, if you want to, you can watch for a moment. So I'm gonna come up into my Sphinx, and now I'm gonna bring my right knee in line with my hip. There's 2 versions of this pose. One is a little less intense, a little more gentle. One is a little deeper. And every time I do it, I get a good crack out of my back. It feels really good to me. So totally listen to your body. We're gonna do that thread the needle kind of pose again, but on the belly. You might wanna have a pillow for your head for this one. So I'm gonna grab that. Okay, version 1, you're gonna thread toward the right knee. So left arm's gonna come through and right arm wraps around your back. That one's pretty mild for me, so I like the deeper version, which is going to be to twist away from the knee, okay? So if you like this one, you could stay there. Okay, if you want to go deeper, from center, you're going to take your right arm and thread it over to the left. Okay, so I don't know if you guys can see this. So this arm's going to go over, and your head's going to go on the pillow. Maybe you wrap your other arm around your back. Now that's pretty deep, so only go there if you like. So maybe I'll show it this way too. I don't know if this is better for you guys. So if I'm here, right knee out to the side, right arm goes to the left, and maybe I wrap the arm around. Okay, we're gonna stay there for a few breaths. Now that you've chosen which way you wanna go, come back to your breath pattern. So again, this is a deep pose. Listen to your body. Make sure you're able to breathe. So if your breath is compromised, then we're not doing our yoga anymore, right? We're working from ego and we're pushing ourselves. One more breath. Good, and then slowly release. Make your way out of the twist, straighten your leg, and pause. And then we'll do that on the other side in a moment. So give yourself a moment in neutral. Okay, let's go ahead and try the other side. So left knee goes out to the side, and you're either gonna thread toward the knee for a more gentle twist, or you're gonna thread away from the knee for a deeper twist. So then the left arm would come over to the right, pillow for your head, hand might stay on the floor, or it might wrap around your back. And breathe. So on the bottom side chest, I've got a little compression, and the top's a little more open depending on if that hand is wrapping. But I'm working the back of the shoulder blade area again, like we did in our other thread the needle pose. Inhale, hold the breath at the top. Exhale, let it go. One more. Notice what the breath feels like in that shoulder blade on that bottom side. And then slowly unwind. Come back to the center and pause. Maybe you want to shake it out a little bit. And then move it back to child's pose when you're ready. And take another breath or two in child's pose. Breathe into your lower back. Okay, it took us a while to get there, but we are going to move a little bit now. Just for a bit, I want to open things up a bit more so we can do a little more heart opening. So we did a lot of this heart releasing, releasing the back of the shoulder, releasing the front. So come back to tabletop position, all fours. Keep some tone in your belly. And then think about the back of the heart and start to move the back of the heart toward the front of the heart until you feel like your heart is moving a little toward the floor, but don't bend the arms. Okay, keep that feeling, tuck your toes. So the back of the heart is in, upper spine in, tuck your toes, down dog. And as you come to down dog, keep the upper spine in. So we'll try that a few times. Knees come to the floor. Have a little bit of a lift in your chest, tone in your belly, upper spine in, move the back of your heart in toward the front of your heart. Keep that feeling of the engagement in the upper back and move back up to down dog slowly. And one more time, knees down, inhale, heart in, back of heart in, down dog. All right, from here, walk it forward, top of the mat. Come into halfway lift, inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale all the way up, reach the arms overhead, and exhale, hands to your heart. Good, let's flow through a few sun salutations, and we'll do some lunge work to further open up kind of more the hip flexor area. So inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold. Halfway lift, hands on shins, thighs, or the floor. Step back, plank pose, top of a push-up. Drop knees if you like, lower all the way down. And as you inhale into cobra, back of the heart toward the front of the heart, hold it here. Think about that headlight in the front of your chest and shine it forward. Press the back of the heart toward the front of the heart. So that upper spine is engaged and shoulders are drawing back. Release down, downward facing dog. Inhale here, exhale, walk it forward, top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale, stay here. Now, in this halfway lift, can you get that same feeling? Tone your belly, and then the back, upper back muscles are engaged. The center of the heart is heavy, as if it's gonna kind of melt toward the floor. Back of the neck is long. One more breath. As you exhale, fold over your legs. Inhale all the way up. Hands to the heart. Let's go one more round like that. Inhale, reach. We'll pause in cobra, exhale, fold. Halfway lift. Step back, plank. You can lower straight down or drop your knees. Inhale, cobra, hold it. So cobra elbows are still bent, they hug in the midline, and you're trying to move the back of your heart toward the front of your heart, and your shoulders are moving back. Your upper back's engaged. Chest shining forward. Good, release. Downward facing dog. Up and back. Inhale here, exhale, walk it forward, top of the mat. Halfway lift, hold. Now, you might have hands on shins, thighs, or floor, up to you, but do lift your shoulders. Keep that upper back engaged, belly toned, and the heart almost melting toward the floor. So it's really a visual that of the heart releasing, as if it could just release anything out that we want to let go of. Next, exhale, fold. And inhale all the way up. And hands to your heart. Good. Okay, we're gonna go through some lunges now, and we're gonna add in some of that energy work we did in the beginning. If you need blocks to step back to lunge, or if you need padding for your knees, grab those things, and then come back to mountain pose. So some people just can put hands right on the floor. If you'd like to have blocks to step back, have those, okay? All right, inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold. And then step the right foot to the back of the mat and drop down onto that right knee. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Pause here. Have that sense of groundedness in the feet and that sense of the tailbone drawing a little forward. And then from here, deepen into your lunge a little bit, if that feels okay. Now try not to dump into your lower back. Keep that tailbone hugging forward. So it's just a little hook. You should feel a little stretch here in that back hip flexor. And then hands are at your heart. As you inhale, we're gonna open up like we did before. Maybe there's a back bend. And then exhale back to the heart. Good, 2 more of those. Inhale, open up. Exhale to the heart. 1 more time. Good. Now place your palms flat on your chest. Inhale, the palms move away. Exhale into your heart, press. Inhale, move away. Exhale, press. And as you press, almost imagine you're pressing the heavy air, like there's a little resistance. And press 1 more time. Now keep the pressing and lift your heart up. Take your head back. Maybe you're gonna drop the hips deeper into the lunge. Keep that feeling of the tailbone hooking. And use your hands to lift your heart up a little more and press your heart up into your hands. From here, float the arms all the way up toward the ceiling, circle them around and bring your hands to the floor. Step back plank pose. Lower down, inhale, cobra, or if you like up dog, you can straighten the arms and lift the knees. Downward facing dog. Hold your dog for a breath. And then inhale the right leg straight up. Step it through. Drop down onto your back knee. Pad that knee if you like. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Good, pause. Get that tailbone hooking forward, root down into the ground, and then maybe deepen into your lunge. Let the hips come forward. Any amount. And then 3 rounds. Inhale, open up wide. Exhale, hands to the heart. Good, inhale, open up wide. Hands to the heart. One more time. Good, hands flat on the chest. Inhale, palms away. Exhale, pull in. Inhale, palms away. Exhale, pull in. One more. And now keep the palms pressing into your heart. Start to lift your heart. Take your head back. Maybe deepen a little more into that lunge and then press your heart up into your hands. Reach the arms up toward the sky and then big circle, hands come down. This time lift your back knee and step forward. Fold at the top. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, we're gonna do that on side 2, moving with the left leg now. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, fold. Step the left foot to the back of the mat, drop down onto the left knee, pat it if you like. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Hook the tailbone. So we keep a little engagement in the low belly as we slide deeper, and that'll prevent us from dumping into that lower back. Inhale, open up. Exhale to the heart. Inhale, open up. Exhale to the heart. One more, changing it up this time. Good. From here, we're going to bring our palms onto the top of our head, the thumbs, and bring the elbows in and reach the elbows up toward the ceiling. As you drop deeper into that lunge, come into a back bend. Any amount, tip your head back and reach the elbows up. Good. Now reach the arms up into the back. Hands come down. Step back, plank pose. Cobra or an up dog. And down dog. Inhale the left leg up. Step it through. Right knee down. Inhale, reach the arms up. Take your time. Exhale, hands to the heart. Pause there. Tailbone hook. Belly lifting, and then slide into the lunge if you want to deepen. 3 rounds. Inhale, open up. Exhale to the heart. And again, inhale, open up. Exhale to the heart. One more time. Good. Keep the palms together. Bring the palms up. Thumbs on top of the head. Elbows hug in. And then deepen into your lunge as you lift the elbows up and tip the head back. Lift the elbows. Lift the heart. Good. Reach the arms up. Hands come down. Lift the back knee. Step forward. And fold over your legs. Inhale all the way up. Exhale, hands to your heart. Okay, take a pause in mountain pose. Widen your feet so they're about outer hips distance. Fix my mat. And now just another little energy workflow to kind of calm the energy after all that lunge work. So we're gonna have our hands, it's almost gonna be like a wheel, okay? So you're gonna take your hands, start to make a wheel. Yeah, and so we're gonna think about one hand is flowing toward the heart as the other hand is kind of coming down toward the belly. And just go slowly. This is kind of like a qigong sort of thing to calm the energy of the heart. So now slow things down a little bit. Let's do 3 more cycles. Good, and then drawing down the heavens, inhale, reach your arms up, turn your palms down and draw down. Think about calming your heart energy. 2 more, inhale, reach up. Exhale, pull down through the center. And 1 more, inhale, reach. Exhale, draw down. Good, step the feet back in. Inhale, reach your arms up. Exhale, fold. Step back to down dog. We're gonna bring our knees to the floor and grab your 2 blocks. Now, those of you who can't sit down on your heels, you're just gonna stay up on your knees like this, okay? Those of you who can are gonna be pressing up from here. So we're gonna come into camel pose, which is a heart opener. So you might wanna start with your blocks on the high level. So from kneeling, you're gonna try and press up into a camel pose. So watch for a moment. I'm gonna really dig down with the hands, push down, start to lift, and then bring my pelvis forward and lift and open the heart. And then we'll sit back down. Now, those of you who can't do that, you're gonna stay here and you're just gonna open up your heart and not worry about that lifting up part, okay? So those of you who can, we're gonna do a couple more rounds. From kneeling, you're gonna push down. You might even need your fingertips. Push down, lift and press your hips forward and open your heart. And back down. 1 more time on your own. Dig down, push up, lift and open your heart. Very nice. And then sit it back down. Very good. Take a pause wherever you like, either sitting on your heels or in a child's pose if you don't like sitting on your heels. Okay, so we're gonna come into seated and you're gonna maybe sit up on a folded blanket or a pillow. Take your arms out, legs out wide rather. Hold on 1 second. Okay, I just wanna make sure I have another poem to read to you guys. So we're gonna, this one's another one kind of like a threading kind of thing like we've been doing. So you're gonna take your left hand over to the right and walk it out. And then take your right palm over your left palm. So they're kind of crossed, okay? And then start to walk your hands a little bit more toward your right foot, press in your palms, and start to lean toward your left. So you drop your shoulder and your head toward the left. And breathe here. Your feet, let's keep them a little active, pointing the toes up, push into your palms. Think about pushing your palms away so you lean toward that opposite side. And then very, very slowly start to come up, uncross, and come back to center. So it hits a lot of stuff, a little bit back of the shoulder, back of heart, but you're probably also feeling that somewhere in your back, your lower back. Let's try the other side. Take your right hand across to the left. Take your left palm on top. Walk the hands a little bit more toward your left foot and start to press into your palms and lean toward the opposite side, toward your right, any amount. Not to mention, you could also, if you wanted to, you could put your head on a prop. So that might be more comfortable for some of you, or you're gonna go deeper if you want. And then push with your palms, one more breath. Inhale, hold, exhale, let it go. And then carefully come back to the center and pause. Bring the soles of your feet together for bound angle. Now, a couple of options here. Some of you might need blocks. If you feel like you want to modify, you're going to put your blocks in front of your shins, and you're going to be bringing your arms onto the blocks, and they could be any level. Palms are going to face up. Some of you are going to go right to the floor. So depending on your range of motion, you might be able to put forearms on the floor. Some of you might prefer to have the blocks under your knees. If you have any knee strain, hip strain, lower back strain. So you can stay up higher by putting yourself up on the blocks. You can go deeper by bringing your forearms to the floor. Now this one we're going to hold. And I want you to come into your breath pattern. And think about your heart being heavy again. So now we're back to more inner focus for the heart. We did some opening there at the end. Now back to nourishing. Let your heart feel like a sandbag releasing toward the floor. And here's another poem as you hold here. We must not give up. It takes so much time to heal because we are not just healing our own wounds. We are healing the world's wounds too. We think we are alone with our stuff, but we aren't. With every clearing of our emotional debris, with every foray into a healthier way of being, with every excavation and release of old material, we heal the collective heart. So many of our familial and karmic ancestors had little opportunity to heal their pains. When we heal, their spirits breathe a sigh of relief, and we heal them backwards while healing ourselves forward, and we heal in unison. So I thought that was so beautiful. When I think about like my ancestors, like a lot of the times they were focusing on survival, and you know, they didn't have time for all this self-growth, self-care stuff, right? So we do our healing now and we heal backwards. We heal them backwards. Slowly, slowly start to come up. Take your time and pause when you get to the top, when you get to the vertical. And then use your hands, draw your knees up. And let's go ahead and come on our backs. And let's go ahead and just take a full body stretch. So come on down. Maybe you want something under your head. Take a full body stretch, lengthen everything out. Maybe you want to do a little reach through one arm, one leg. And then when you're ready, give yourself a big hug. Bring the knees into the chest and rock on your lower back. So a lot of what we did tonight is probably challenging for the lower back, especially if you're tight in the front of your hips. So a lot of what we did, the lunge work, the camel pose, those are all tough if we're tight in our hip flexors. And next week, that's going to be our focus. We're going to be focusing on our hip flexors and the psoas, which is our fight flight muscle. And so when we're dealing with stress, trauma, things like that, that's the muscle that's going to grip. So we did a lot of work to release it tonight, but there'll be more in that direction next week. Okay, when you're ready, let's bring the feet down, do a little windshield wiper right to left. Just to make sure we've released that lower back. So feet are wide as the mat, drop the knees right to left, feet flat. Go slow. That's it. Okay, let's come back to the center. And if you feel like you need one more knee hug, go for it. Now you have a bolster or some pillows. Let's go ahead and put those under the backs of the knees. Especially if your lower back feels a little tender after all that work we did. A lot of back bending. So find something to support the backs of your knees. It could be as simple as a rolled up blanket or a bolster or some bed pillows. And then come onto your back. And then before we completely relax, we're going to bring the center of the palms of the hands together again, like we did in the beginning, and create that friction by rubbing back and forth. So you're going to like twist your palms into each other and rub in that kind of twisty pattern till you get that warmth and that friction. Once you feel a good warmth there, let's put the hands over the heart again. And feel that warmth and imagine it could soften any remaining tension around the heart. Soften the fascia, the skin, and then give a little pressure in a little circle. And then go the other way. And then pause, press gently. And then release your arms at your side or wherever you're comfortable. And start to come into that breath pattern. Let's do 3 rounds. Inhale, pause. Exhale, release. Inhale, pause, digest it, let it go. One more time. And then melt into your Shavasana. So that moment of pause, that moment of stillness in the breath and in the mind. The practices of yoga and Ayurveda tell us that if we keep ourselves so busy, we don't have that time to digest our experiences and our emotions. And so that breath is kind of representative of our lives, right? We have an experience, we take it in like we do with the breath, and then can we process it? Can we digest it? Take from it what we need, what is good, what is nourishing, and then can we release what doesn't serve us? Let the whole body now feel like it's in that releasing phase. Your whole body is in the exhale. And let your whole body surrender into the ground. And now let the back of the heart rest into the ground. And let the front of the heart rest toward the back of the heart. sharing another poem as you continue to relax. And this is from Susan Freiburg. She's one of my favorite poets. I carry the heartache of many sorrows. I have waited patiently on forgiveness and held out for the faintest touch of compassionate understanding. I've stood over the broken pieces of a wrong decision. We are not unalike, you and I. I have been lonely in life too. And I don't know the swiftest and most effective cure for it. But if I could give you a soothing salve that could ease the discomfort of those desolate hours, believe me, I would. For now, I will tell you, even in your dark and isolating nights, are hollowed ground. Even the air around you is scented with the fragrance of mercy. Even the center of your being is filled with the consoling memories of those who love you. Even the thick breath of night can't swallow you and instead holds you like a caring mother. For now, I will tell you, you may be all on your own, but you are never, ever alone in the silent struggle. All right, so I don't want to keep you guys too long. So if you need to stay in Shavasana longer, you can stay there while we sign off. If you want to end now, take your time and start to move gently. A little fingers and toes, a little deeper breath. And then take your time. Move as you like before coming on to your side. And we'll take a pause there. So after you've been on your side for a couple of breaths and you feel ready, go ahead and return to a seated posture. And we'll sit up nice and tall. That heart light shining forward, nice and open across the shoulders and collarbones. And we'll bring our two palms together. Take an inhale and exhale, bow into your heart. Namaste.